Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello. So I come to you on my 200th episode, totally raw. I didn't even get ready today. And the reason why is because I wanted to be authentic and genuine and real. Not that I'm not any other time, but for those of you that are moms and entrepreneurs and you're juggling everything, sometimes you just feel burned out and you feel tired and you feel like you just don't want to do anything. That's where I am at today. And so I wanted to talk about that because as a mom, you're wanting to be a mom, you're wanting to be successful, and you're wanting to be there for all the little things. And you want, I don't know, for me, I want my house in perfect order. I want it all organized. I want to be able to make sure that when you walk into the house, everything is ready to go and it's nice and you could have anybody come over all the time. And as I walk in my house right now, it's not. And the reason it's not is because I made some choices that are biting me in the behind. So as you know, we own multiple properties. And so we have two rentals that one, they moved out because they wanted to, the other was not by choice. And like even earlier this year, I was going to evict somebody and it's just hard because you want to be a human and you want to be understanding of people's situations, but at the same time, they come back to bite you, and they never, in my opinion, they're not there to like, oh, let me help you, Charisse, and let me do this or that. Like they destroyed our house, and now we're trying to put it back together so that we can either rent it or sell it. And it's been 4 months almost in the process dealing with these two houses. And so the question is like, with one of them, you bring in contractors. Well, they bid out $17,000 for something that should cost $2,000. So it's like, well, that sucks, but it's your time. And so as I was sitting there at 11:15 last night, covered in paint all over my face, my hair, my fingernails, my hands, just everything. I even bunny suited up. I had my mask and my goggles, but I was still covered in paint. And I was thinking, okay, how much money have I lost because I haven't been working my clients and like taking on new clients because I've been dealing with these two houses. So yeah, it might have cost $17,000 to get the house, but it would have been done professionally. It would have been done quickly, and it would have been done so that I could have been working on other things. And quite frankly, even being a mom, like my husband, we all went there to the house. It's about 35 minutes away. And he ended up taking the girls home so that I could stay and paint. And so I didn't even get to tuck him in to bed. And then our summer was completely just consumed by this house. And the house hasn't even sold. So then I think, okay, well, maybe I should have just put it on the market, not made any improvements, and just sold it as is. And because the market is in such a weird time right now. Like in 10 years, I've never seen it like this. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a real estate agent and a lender. And so it's hard. And so we've even been looking at doing our kitchen at the other place because our renters punched the cabinets and bashed them. And so to just reface them, but to just get a whole new kitchen, plus you have to get a new countertop. So I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. And then add to that my daughter, who was in a really bad car accident, totaled her car on Saturday. And so then you start thinking, as we're rushing to try to get to her, which was about 40 minutes away, and then with bad weather, it was hard, stressful. And then you see her in the ambulance and you see her just there. And it makes you realize that what is important and what really matters. When I was younger, being that top executive and running these colleges, my kids were important, but because I was the breadwinner, I didn't really have the luxury of being able to do what I needed to do. And so of course I was there, but my kids were younger as well. And so by the time that they really needed their mom, I had quit. And so for the last 10 years, I've been an entrepreneur, and it's good. And my income is far better than it ever was running colleges. But the real side sometimes is we just get tired. And with our clients, sometimes things can be a fight. Like, again, in the real estate world, things are just a fight right now. And so if you put out the positive vibes and say, no, we're going to sell our house, everything's going to be good. And so it's interesting because I had it at one price point, and my intuition, I call it divine intervention, kept saying, drop it to this price, drop it to this price. And so I'm like, oh, fine. It's a huge drop. But then I think, well, maybe I should drop it further so we can get more showings. And it's like I hear this voice say, no, don't do that. Just keep it where it is. Be patient. So it's like, okay, trusting your gut, trusting other people, trusting that you don't have to do it all alone. And I think as solopreneurs sometimes, or small business owners, it's hard. It's hard to trust. And I apologize, I'm so tired today. But it's hard to trust other people and make sure that we're doing what we need to. But I'm in a group, it's a multifamily group, and they talk about the importance of creating relationships and building relationships and making sure that you are doing what you need to. And they actually went under contract. So I was in Miami pitching the deals, and they pitched their deal or talking about it. And our mentor, he's like, you're not going to get that deal to this group of people, because it was down to two people. It was down to them, which they're small. They do have some multifamily, but not a lot. And then it was this other group that has $10 billion in assets and owns a place right down the street. And so they got it. They were awarded it because they were very creative in what they did, and they took the time to build the relationships. And so if you're a small business owner and you're struggling, I want you to think today, who can I talk to and create a relationship with that can move the needle the other way, instead of going backwards thinking, oh my gosh, we're not going to make it? How can you get out in the community? There was one, it was a Mexican restaurant actually, that it was interesting because when they first opened their doors, they were very, very involved in the schools. And so with your students, they get honor roll or they did something, hey, come get a free kids meal with the purchase of an entree. So when they opened, they said, hey, get a free kids meal with the purchase of an entree. So what does that do? Yeah, the kid gets a free meal, but now the parents have to come in. And so they're getting exposure in the community, and they're doing things with the community. And then they started to be in parades or anywhere they could be involved in the community. And so if you are a small business owner, get involved. I hear a lot of people, they get with the BNI groups. I'm not going to speak to that. I'm not the biggest fan, because people are in it to try to get other relationships and referrals. But what I want you to think is, how can you make a difference in your community so that you can start to build a brand of know, like, and trust, and people can get to know you. And that's something that now that I've lived where I'm living, it just feels like the last 2 years have been a fight with these rentals. And so getting rid of a couple of them, we'll be able to focus on other things and be able to do the community market leader and do what we need to. But perseverance is something else. Even with this podcast, it's been almost 2 years now. Well, it has been 2 years. And I think, okay, why am I doing this? Each time I think I need to stop, I continue. And so I thought, I have many more episodes that have been already filmed and they're in the production process, but it's my 200th episode. And I thought I would be remiss if I did not come on here and tell you, hello, first of all, thank you for watching. But second of all, you need to make sure that you build your community and you get out there and you network and you hire somebody, hire an assistant to help you, because you absolutely cannot do everything on your own. It's not worth it, whether it be a VA for a couple hours a week, or whether it be somebody else, or a local mom in the neighborhood that wants a couple hours to work. Just whatever you can do to help. I opened up an email and I thought it was an assistant to somebody, and they're like, hi, I'm the assistant and here's everything. And I thought, oh my gosh, how nice would that be? For many people, to just get somebody to take care of your emails or send out emails for you, or take care of, like, for the production, here's all the things that you'll be able to receive, and you don't have to do it. You would be so much further along, and you probably have a lot more clients and a lot more money. And so as you're thinking about things, like, how much money do I make an hour, and how much am I, like, painting last night? I probably should outsource that. And then you think, oh, I can't do it because the money. Well, we're 2 months into this house. There's a lot left to be done before it's going to be ready to be put on the market. And it's been sitting for 2 months, so we're still making mortgage payments. It could be done. We could be over and we could move on and it could be under contract and it could be sold. And yet here we are. And so I'm going to learn from some lessons because I don't want to be the hypocrite that tells you to do these things, but then isn't. And so that's something as I was thinking, what is important to you? What are your values? As I almost lost a daughter this weekend. Spending time with my kids is so crucial and vital and important. And if you have somebody that can support you and your family, do you really have to work, or do you have to work as many hours as you are right now? So those are things that have just been on my mind that I wanted to share, because to me, family is everything. But do my kids know that, and do my kids feel like that? I used to, being on calls or being in a situation where I'm showing homes and my kids call, I used to not take the call. I used to just not, because I wanted to be present with my client and be professional. But here I was with my mentor in Miami. There's a room full of over 100 people, and he's dead sentence in the middle of a conversation up in front of us, and his daughter calls and he's like, hey, and he takes the call. He doesn't care. All of us can wait. His kid is the most important thing to him, and they know that because he answers his phone. And so time and a place for things, but I really want you to think, who is more important and how are you treating those people, and do they know that they're the most important people in your life? And if they're not, or if you don't feel like that, maybe you should take some time to do some introspection and really what changes need to be made so that you are living the life that you want. Because that is my biggest thing on this podcast is, are you at peace? Have you found your passion and your purpose? And are you executing on that? And if your purpose right now is to be a mom, and that's the season, then don't go so hard on your real estate. I'm sorry. Then don't go so hard don't push so hard on this passion that your business, because your kids are only young one time. And once they grow up, you're not going to have that time back. And as my son is leaving for 2 years to do service work in Chile, I got 3 weeks left with him. And what's more important to me? It's definitely not painting a dadgum house. I want to spend as much time as I can. And so that's the part that sometimes we lose sight. And as I'm so tired, that I just wanted to share, because I had the opportunity, I have the privilege where I have 4 kids and then I have 2 kids. And those 2 kids have not had my attention as much as the first 4. And I want to reverse that, because I know what I know now with my first 4, and time, you will never get that back. And in a day where social media and electronic devices are so prominent, my kids, my younger 2, my older 4 would never have said, hey, can I borrow your phone? But my younger 2 are used to that phone. And so my goal this next year is to be present with them, and that they are not spending countless hours watching TV because I'm not involved with them, because I'm painting a house, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. That the time that you have with them needs to be important. And so think about that and take some inventory, because that's what I'm doing. And really think, like, I'm a mom that has already been through it with 4, but I'm going through it again because times have changed. And I know some people that they have a nanny, and I thought, oh, I'd never get a nanny because I don't want them to replace me. But who am I letting replace them? A TV. I'd much rather pay for a nanny. So I hope that this has been beneficial to you, because I'm just rambling on some things that really I've been thinking a lot about. Be that example to your kids. And I want you to think that, like, if your 19-year-old child were dating, like, say it's your son, would you want them dating somebody like you? Or would you want them dating someone like your husband? And if the answer is no, then what changes need to be made so that You can be proud because they're learning from you. You are the example. And they are going to mimic or mirror what you've taught them. I look at my ex-husband and my oldest son, and growing up, my son's like, I will never do what, this person did, or my ex-husband. And he is the spitting image of him now. The way he looks, the way he acts, what he does, and not everything. But you are an example, good or bad, of that's what your children see, that's what they learn. And so if you don't want them to grow up a certain way, then what are you doing that is teaching them? Like they're going to learn it from you. So be that example. And I think of, again, this parent that right now has just been a huge example to me, so involved in his children's life and his girls. And they have the tutors, sure they have a whole lot of money, but they are doing a lot of good things and they're productive. And I don't know what goes on at home and behind closed doors, but I want my children to know that anything that they want to accomplish in life, they can go after. And if I haven't mirrored that or given that as an example, then they're not going to see that. And so for me, making sure that I leave a lasting legacy of love, of values, God-fearing woman that wants to run her businesses exceptionally well, but have the freedom so that family is there and that they can accomplish anything they want. That is my goal. And that's what I'm going after. And so I want you to think about what your core values are. What do you want to portray to your children? And what are you doing well? And what could you improve? And if you're having a hard time finding that, then take it to the man upstairs, to God, and ask. There was a TV show that I was watching that she said, what am I doing in my life that I could do without? She was praying to God. And what should I be doing that I'm not? Those were two pretty powerful things to me, is what could I be doing that I'm not? And what should I stop doing that I'm doing? For me, like this phone, sometimes I spend a little too much time on a video game because I'm escaping. Or I might just cuddle up on a couch like I am in my ball, feeling sorry for myself because of all the things that I need to do and that aren't going my way. And it's like, okay, what could I be doing to make sure that I do everything that I possibly can to make sure that it works? And if that involves hiring other people to make my life easier, then by all means, I'm going to do it. So I hope that you've taken some advice, that you do trust others and you reach out and you let other people help you, because we are a community. We're not meant to be on this earth alone. And so if we reach out to other people, asking the right questions, hiring the right people, but making sure that we're using our time as efficiently as possible so that we can spend time with those that we brought into this world. That's my takeaway that I'm going to really work on, that's been on my mind lately. So I hope that you forgive my raw appearance, but I just felt like I wanted to share that on my 200th episode. So go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.